One sunny afternoon, I found a mysterious machine in my grandfather's attic. It was old and covered in dust, but it looked like a time machine from a storybook. I asked my grandfather about it, and he smiled and said, "It's a time machine, my dear. Would you like to take a journey through time?" I couldn't believe my ears. A real time machine. I nodded eagerly, and my grandfather showed me how to operate it. He said, "Be careful and remember, you can't change the past. You can only observe it." I stepped into the time machine, and my heart raced with excitement. I turned the dial to a long time ago, and suddenly, I was transported through time. I found myself in a prehistoric world where dinosaurs roamed. I saw a massive T-Rex and a gentle Brachiosaurus eating leaves from tall trees. The world was filled with lush greenery and strange plants. I felt like a real explorer from a history book. Next, I traveled to ancient Egypt, where I saw pyramids and people wearing robes and headdresses. They were building grand monuments, and it was fascinating. I even met a friendly Egyptian cat who purred and rubbed against my legs. It was like traveling back in time to a different world. From there, I journeyed to medieval times, where knights in shining armor rode on horses and protected their castles. I watched a jousting tournament and cheered for the brave knights. I also visited a medieval fair with jugglers, jesters, and colorful tents. The air was filled with the smell of roasted turkey legs, and I had a taste of history. Then, I traveled to a time when kings and queens ruled. I saw magnificent palaces and elegant gardens. It was like stepping into a fairy tale. I even met a friendly queen who invited me to a royal tea party. We sipped tea and ate delicious pastries while talking about her kingdom. As my journey continued, I arrived in a time when people wore top hats and long dresses. They danced to beautiful music in grand ballrooms, and I twirled around with them. I also witnessed the invention of the first car and watched it chug along the cobblestone streets. It was a time of great change and innovation. My time machine then took me to a time of big band music and swing dancing. People in colorful dresses and sharp suits danced under twinkling lights, and I joined in the fun. I even met a famous musician who played the saxophone and taught me a few dance moves. It was a toe-tapping adventure through history. But as my journey through time continued, I knew I had to return to the present. I turned the dial on the time machine and was whisked back to my grandfather's attic. I couldn't believe what I had just experienced. It was like a dream come true, traveling through time and witnessing history firsthand. I rushed to my grandfather and hugged him tightly, thanking him for the amazing adventure. He smiled and said, "I knew you would enjoy it, my dear." From that day on, I often visited my grandfather's attic and took journeys through the time machine. Each time, I discovered new and exciting moments in history. And as I traveled through time, I learned that history is like a treasure chest filled with stories waiting to be explored. It made me appreciate the past and the people who came before us. So, the time machine became my magical gateway to the past, a place where I could learn, explore, and appreciate the rich tapestry of history. And that's the story of my journey through a time machine, a thrilling adventure that allowed me to witness the wonders of the past and appreciate the present even more.